Hello, it's Charles Fockaert on October 27, 2017. I welcome all of you, and I thank you for supporting this channel, and a special thank you to Lorenzo in, I believe, Australia. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks a lot. Well, this is the 6th in a series of On the Road with Charles Fockaert. And, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but earlier this week I had 1,911 subscribers, and now I'm down to 1,908. You relate a real life story about what's actually happening on the ground as a full-time RVer who has now been stuck in Chubbock or Pocatello, Idaho for exactly 2 weeks today. I got up this morning at 4:45. It is now 5:21 a.m. in the morning, and I hurt everywhere. I'm tired. I haven't been eating very well, and I want to relate to you what happened yesterday when I thought I'd be on the road. Didn't happen. But before I go there, I want to bring up the Ammon brothers in Nevada and the trial in Nevada. With all that I'm going through, what those two men are going through in Nevada is 1,000 times worse. So I pray for the Ammon brothers. I'm stuck in an RV here in Idaho. They're stuck in a jail in Nevada for something they didn't even do. They didn't do anything wrong, folks. And they were brought into the courtroom last week in shackles, and they had bruises on their arm. They're being abused. And you know what? You know how you can tell this country is finished? The people in that town, the people around that jail, the people around, I got to be careful here what I say, but why, and I have several videos here that say that we're no longer under the rule of law. Why we're allowing the judges to get away with what they're getting away with. Our flat screens, our new trucks, our car, our new RV. I saw an RV yesterday or the other day when I was in the shop. It must have been 50 feet long. I mean, it was 42 feet, I think the fellow said. I got a picture here. And I'll do that on a maybe another video because I don't have time. I'm tired. I don't want to go looking on my phone for that image. But wow. So anyway, I thought we were all done yesterday. I had cleaned up the place and arranged my truck. I did it on the previous video. By the way, don't just jump in on this video and watch this video. This is like a series. So take the time, I suggest, and watch the series and catch up. And then you'll know where I'm coming from. I'm stuck here with Mr. Know-It-All Mechanic. And boy, did he get pie in his face yesterday. But he doesn't even faze him. Doesn't faze him a bit. So anyway, I think we're done. I take the Chevy Mini Winnie down to Cal Ranch to get some propane in the tank and to fill the gas tank up at the local gas station. Come back home, and I can sense that there's something wrong with the engine. It's running hot, hotter than it should. Not overheating. I won't let that. Hopefully, I won't let that happen because that's not good. But it's running hotter than it should, and I know that something's wrong. The engine runs, and I'm going down the highway okay, but I can just sense there's something wrong. So I come back and I pull in here again, and I tell that Mr. Know-It-All Mechanic, Brian, that's not his real name, but I tell Brian there's something wrong. So we spend another hour. I run down again and I buy another gallon of coolant, antifreeze. And we put that in the reservoir, and we're running the engine, and we can't find anything wrong. I'm telling you, the engine's running okay. It's not missing. And we can't figure out what's wrong. But I can just sense, because I've been working on engines and cars and equipment and motorcycles and for my entire life. So I can just tell something's wrong. But everything looks all right. It's running a little hot, but hey, you know, maybe that's just, I don't know. I hook up my Toyota to the back of the Chevy Mini Winnie. I'm all set to go. I do a walk around. I check the key in the Toyota. Watch the previous video to get the import of that. And I head out. I'm going down to the intersection to get on Highway 15. And I want to tell you something. I was in an auto parts store the other day, and we got conversation with the clerk, who was a female. Why all the females are working in auto parts, I don't know now, folks. But you men, you white men, are not going to have any work here pretty soon, because the women are taking your jobs and you're not taking their jobs. You're going to be sitting around on your hands because you're not doing anything. You're not speaking up. You're not being vocal. You're not complaining. But hey, that's your problem. I'm headed into the sunset. And this horse is it's been a rough ride on this horse, folks. It's been a rough 2 weeks for me. So I'm headed down. I get on Interstate 15 out of Pocatello, and I'm getting on the on-ramp, and something's not right. And back to the lady at the auto parts. She asked me where I was. I told her I was in Rocker, Montana. There's a gas station there. And she says, "Oh, my cousin was killed near Rocker, Montana." And I said, "Oh yeah, that's too bad. How did that happen?" She goes, "He ran out of gas on the highway and a semi truck ran him over, smashed into his car." So I'm on the highway and I'm thinking about that a little bit. It's in the back of my mind, and I'm on the highway getting on the on-ramp, and I'm going down the road, and okay, I'm nervous. It's hard to, the way things have been, and I'm nervous on the road. And then they have road construction. So now it's down to 2 lanes, oncoming traffic. And the wind's blowing it's blowing me not straight behind me yet, because I'm going east. And it's blowing me. It's not too bad. It's 15 miles an hour approximately, according to the news. So anyway, I get up to an incline, and I'm headed up an incline, and guess what? I run out of power. I can't go. So I have to pull over to the side of the road, and I'm going, what's going on? So cars are going by, trucks are going by. And, I'm on the highway, so I can't just sit there. So I look in the mirror, I get back on the highway again, and I'm going. And I get up to an incline, and I'm watching the gauge, the temperature gauge, and it's going hotter, getting near. So pull over again. Something's not right. Pull back onto the highway after it's clear, and I'm this incline, and I get up the incline, and there's no power, and the engine quits. Whew. And guess what? When an engine quits in this vehicle, there's no brakes. So I was going 50, and the engine quits, and I don't have any brakes. I'm pulling over to the side. The engine quits. It dies. I sit there going, what the hell is going on? Anyway, I get off the highway. I'm going really slow. A FedEx semi-truck blows by me honking its horn, and I don't blame him. I'd be pissed, too, for holding him up. And I get off the highway before Income, Montana, and I go around and I find a place, a wide spot in the road, and I pull over. And you start asking yourself, you know, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I thought we were fixed. I've been here 2 weeks. And this is really not a difficult fix, but obviously there's something wrong, and I don't really know what it is. The timing is off. And I'm hoping that's all it is. Maybe it's retarded or advanced, and there's no power, and it cuts out, and it's backfiring. I saw white smoke go by me when I pulled over. So I get on the phone and I call Mr. Know-It-All Brian, the mechanic, and I tell him, hey buddy, I told him what happened, and he says, okay, I'll come over there. I thought he was going to tell me, you know what, Charles, stick it up your butt, I'm done with you. But no, he at least has the integrity to come out. Later, he told me he was at his grandfather's house. That's where we cut the firewood the other day. So it takes him over an hour to get there, and I'm sitting there wondering what's going on. I do a couple searches trying to figure it out. And he shows up, and this guy, he can't communicate. He doesn't talk to me at all. He doesn't tell me what's going on. I ask him some questions. He mumbled. I said, what do you think it is? Could it be the distributor? No. So he starts taking off the valve cover. So now, and by this time I'm thinking, well, there's something wrong with the head or the gasket. And I had called another mechanic that I know. Thank God for this fellow John at Sun Power Mechanic in Pocatello. He said, well, did he put in all the gaskets right? And I said, yeah, I think so. I watched him. No, I actually didn't see that part. I didn't see him put the gaskets in. So, hey, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. So, he tells me he called his wife to bring out the torque wrenches. Now, when you're doing a head, you got to torque the head down. That means the pressure on all the bolts have to be the same. And I remember him giving me some 3x5 cards that I couldn't read. And he had all the specs on there for the torque. So I figure, the guy looked up the specs for the torque and all the bolts, and he tightened up all the bolts according to spec. And I saw him do it. He had a torque wrench here. But apparently, later, as he's re-torquing, after the wife shows up with the torque wrenches, he re-torques the head, the bolts on the head, and he mumbles something about he went to the GM site and they told him blah 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 blah, but he called his buddy Brandon, and Brandon said, oh no, the Chevy head bolts are 65 foot-pounds. So if you don't know about this kind of work in a head job, and a new head gasket and a new head, that's one of the simplest things. That's like, as my friend Ryan said up in Edmonton, your birth date. It's 65 pounds. So guess what? He didn't torque the head down according to specs. So I'm thinking that the compression is coming out between the gasket and the head and the block, and that's why we're losing the power, and that's why it's overheating. So folks, you do all this work, and one of the simplest things to know how to do and to do it right, the most important thing to do right, isn't done right. So now I'm wondering, now I'm concerned that maybe the integrity of the gasket has been compromised, which means removing the head again from the block installing a new head gasket and putting it all back together again. And I'll tell you what, this is the last place. I'm back at his place because I told him I got to spend the night. I can't drive on. I got to check this out. So he tells me, well, there's plenty of places you can park in the parking lots. And I go, oh. And then he finally said, well, you can come back to my place. See, I want him to fix this, but he doesn't want to fix it because it's going to take time again. But I'm hoping that with retorquing and for it's possible that the head gasket is okay, and that one way, I called my buddy Mike up in Kalispell, and he said, well, one way to check is to take the radiator cap off, run the engine, and if it's compromised, that coolant will shoot out of there like a volcano. So I do that. I'm in the parking lot again, right in the exact same spot where I was when I pulled into Pocatello, where Mr. Know-It-All mechanic Brian met me at the Fred Meyers. Put the parentheses around the Myers. So I take the cap off, I run the engine. All the antifreeze that we put in the reservoir drains into the radiator and spills out onto the floor, and I'm watching another $8 or $9 out on the asphalt in the parking lot. I let it run for quite a while. I didn't see the Vesuvius, the eruption of the coolant. So, and I figure, well, you know what? I'm going to have to do that again tomorrow to make absolutely sure. But there's another test, Mike said, and Mike's a pretty good mechanic, much better than Mr. Know-It-All. And he said the other thing that I would do is I would check the compression. And I was thinking that too, because the gaskets and everything's tight. The compression in the chamber should be about 150, 160, 165, and they should all be pretty close, within 5 degrees of each other. I didn't bring my compression tester, and I think it's missing. My brother and my nephews took my tools when I left them with them when I was in Asia. Isn't that a great thing to have done? Your own family rips you off. That's another story. We're in a third world country. Everybody is dysfunctional. So I don't have a compressor. I can't check the compression. I don't have the gauge. But I figure Brian, Mr. Brian, mechanic, he's probably got one. So I'm going to park at his house, and that's where I am now. I'm parked here, and I'm not going away unless he kicks me out. He can call the sheriff, and tell me, get the hell out of here. So I got to be really careful with this guy. Oh, by the way, he told me yesterday that his neurologist told him he may have had a stroke. So, wow, this guy's going to a neurologist? I told you there's something wrong with this guy. So I got to be careful what I say, because he's already packed it up once and told me to finish the job myself. So he's got to know he made a big mistake, right? So we're going to find out if he's going to fix it or not. I'm hoping the compression is okay and the integrity of the gasket has not been compromised. And but I'm going to run the engine here, and I'm going to take the RV around for a couple of days, or maybe at least one day, drive it around. Now I'm nervous about getting in the RV and going up a hill and have it overheating, folks. So here we are. I'm stuck another day in Chubbock, Pocatello area of Idaho. Still working on the RV. I'm working on with a cuckoo. And when I'm out on the road, I say, can you follow me back to your place? And he goes, no, I got to go to my grandfather's house. You just effed up my job that I've been here for a week with you, And you're not going to follow me back into town to make sure I get there safely? See, that's the kind of guy this guy is. So he didn't get home last night till after 11, or maybe later. So here I am at 5:41 in the morning, and I'm going to have to do the compression test. I'm going to borrow his compression tester if he has one. If not, I'm going to have to buy one. Oh, folks. And I'm going to put this in here because some of you people think, oh, you need to move on with your life. I had a young guy talking to me that I've been talking to for 3 years, mentoring him. And he had the nerve, he had the gall the other day to tell me that I need to stop blaming everybody else for my troubles. So I'd like him to tell me how my current predicament is my fault. Okay? I'd like to hear that. And I want to relate to you that I have other videos about Judge Alan Jaroslavsky with the parentheses around his name. He took my means of earning an income. He took illegally all my equipment, my house, all my property. He took it all away from me and my means of earning an income, and that's why I went to Asia, because I was going to commit crimes, which is what they want you to do, so they can put you in prison, in jail, like the Ammon brothers, folks. Some of you people have still got your head up your ass because you think everything's hunky-dory because you can ride around on your jet ski and your snowmobiles and you can go fishing and you have a new truck that you're paying $300-400 a month. We're losing. This country is finished. I said that in 1999, and it's more, the evidence is mounting that I was correct every day. There was 2 other district court judges. You can put the parentheses around their names, Newman and Kruger, who abused their discretion. They did not obey the law. There is no rule of law. Watch the other videos. I describe it. I was falsely accused, and some of you people still think that because you're accused, you're guilty. And then the Montana Supreme Court did not obey the law. And you ask, well, what the hell does that have to do with anything? I'd have enough money to buy a newer RV. I'd have an income coming in at my age, which I've damn well worked for. That federal judge is making $18,000 a month. He makes more in a month than my total net worth. You got that? They're abusing the law. They're breaking the law. They're abusing their discretion. They're abusing the Ammon brothers. And nobody seems to care. Why don't people storm the courthouse? Okay? I can't go any further that way, buddy, folks, because I don't want the sheriff knocking on my door. So, this is the world. This is the kind of world that exists or results from the Esau Edomites taking control. They've ruined the world. And that began at Genesis chapter 3 when Nachash seduced Eve. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this channel. I covet your prayers because I need them. And may the grace of God our Father, Yahweh, may His grace be upon us all, for we certainly need it. See you.